Hi, everyone. The voice you hear right now, this is Megan Diesner. I work at Verizon in their Insights group. And today I'm going to be walking you through a case study we recently completed where we were able to fully activate some of our insights using programmatic audiences. And if that doesn't make sense right now, that's okay. I didn't know the meaning of all those words either at first. But I have Dinah Bowen with Survata here with me to help me on this journey. So Dinah, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Megan. Hi, this is Dinah Bowen, and I'm the president of Brand Insights at Survata, and we're happy to be with you today. The two of us are here to talk about what we think is going to be a revolution for market research careers, and that is all about activating insights via programmatic audiences. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Okay. So just a little bit about Verizon. Hopefully everyone on this call has heard of us. We're a pretty big company, but we're beyond just cell phone plans. We touch almost all things having to do with communications technology.
And I'm guessing Survata may be a new name for some of you on the call today. We are a brand intelligence company, and we focus on delivering insights for both market research and ad measurement.
And Verizon, we are based on the East Coast. We have headquarters both in New York City and Northern New Jersey.
And Survata is based on the West Coast in San Francisco.
And Verizon is a pretty large publicly traded company, and from a personnel standpoint, we have over 144,000 employees, mainly based here in the U.S., but we do have people across the entire globe.
And Survata is a small company. We're privately held, we're Series B funded, and we've got about 60 people and growing.
And Verizon's consumers are what we call connected consumers. We really are more than just a cell phone company. We provide cable and internet to people in the Northeast. We have security products, a cloud platform. We work in the Internet of Things space, and most recently, you know, that little thing called 5G, Verizon is really involved in all of that. So pretty much anyone who is or who wants to be connected is someone we consider a consumer.
That's just about everyone in the world, Megan.
It is, yep.
You've got a big audience out there. At Survata, we specifically focus on working with brands and agencies, and we are all about this idea of insights to action. And what's important about that is that we know a lot of insights today really sit in PowerPoint presentations. And we want to take those insights and make them work for brands, for the insights teams that we work with at brands, as well as for their marketing organizations. And we'll do a double click into all of that as we talk through our case study today.
Okay. And then last but not least, Verizon, our motto is delivering the promise of the digital world. So you see no mention of cell phones in there. It's really just all things in the digital space, those connections. We really try to deliver what that means for right now and especially for the future. Okay.
All right. So I thought what we'd do is, for those of you who are not familiar with Survata, I thought I'd just give some context into who we are and really about our technology. And so when we talk about our technology, we really focus on being a brand intelligence platform. And as I mentioned earlier, that is for market research. We call that Brand Insights at Survata, and for ad measurement, which we call Brand Optimization at Survata. And the brand intelligence platform that works across both of those business lines is made up of these three proprietary technologies. First, there's our digital network, and that is all about reaching quality consumers. We've got this massive publisher network where we've got thousands of relationships that allow us to reach people across the internet and within apps. And just to be clear, Survata doesn't have a panel. We reach these fresh survey takers as they're going about their daily lives, and we trade them, we unlock premium content in return for answering survey questions. And this reach is into roughly 250 million devices per month, which equates to about 83 million unique individuals. And the cool thing about this is that because we're not incentivizing anyone with cash or points, and it's all about this premium content model, we have very high data quality as a result of that. And so we're really proud of that, and proud that we can offer that to our customers on a kind of a national rep basis. The third technology that we have is our analytics suite. And that's really about our survey platform and our data-driven dashboards. And you have all seen online survey platforms out there, so that in and of itself isn't particularly unique. But what makes it special is that it's integrated with our digital network. So anyone who's using our platform has access to these 250 million devices and these 83 million fresh survey takers. And then the third thing that makes us unique is our partner ecosystem. And this really gets into this term called DSPs. And in the insights world, that's a relatively unfamiliar term. And what that stands for is demand-side platform. And why that's important is our complete world, our insights world and our advertising world is really moving more digital. We know that this year, that it's the first year that digital advertising surpassed traditional advertising in terms of ad spend. And so as market researchers and insights leaders, it's important to understand how the insights that we conduct integrate into this world and influence this world of digital marketing. And how it relates to DSPs is that this is where you go, where a company goes when they're doing their media buy. And so in the case of Verizon, I believe it's DoubleClick, Megan, that you're using for, yeah. And so this is something that Megan and I have learned together. And as we talk through activating insights, we will be able to talk through how we can integrate with the DSPs and take advantage of that to activate straight into your advertising campaigns.
Awesome. So thank you so much for that background, Dinah, on Survata. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background on the business case that we're going to be talking through today. What you see here is Verizon's current segmentation. It is blinded, so this isn't actually proprietary information, but you get the gist of the segmentation and what it looks like. It's an attitudes, needs, and behavior-based segmentation, which honestly is kind of new for Verizon. Our insights team is just over 4 years old, and before we came along, Verizon tended to do demographic-based segmentation, so millennials or Hispanics or West Coasters. And sometimes, you know, people went a little crazy and went a step further and did life stage segmentations, empty nesters, young professionals. And the reason for this is because it's really easy to buy media against these groups. But as researchers, we know that millennials are not all the same. People who we classify as Hispanics are not all the same. Empty nesters are not all the same. Other than that one uniting demographic, they usually vary quite widely based on many other variables. So we know that we need to look at that holistic person. What are their needs? What are their attitudes? What are their behaviors in addition to their demographics to better segment them? So what you see right now is the segmentation that Verizon is currently using, which looks at that whole person, of course through a technology lens, but it's the whole person beyond just a few simple demos. And so having that background, moving into the business case, there we go. At the onset of this business case, it appears to be a fairly straightforward research ask. My marketing partner, whose name is Banning, he is pictured up there in that bubble with me. He is launching a product in late Q2 of this year, which actually is hopefully at the end of this month, and then I can tell you what that product is, but it's scheduled to launch later this month. And his team had come up with a lot of potential marketing messages, and he needed help narrowing them down. In particular, the team needed to know which message resonated overall, and just as importantly, they needed to know what message resonated with their two target growth segments. And based on what we know about those segments from the segmentation, there was a thought and a hypothesis that there may be a different message that popped with those groups versus overall. So, you know, pretty standard. But what made his ask different and is that it was super important to him and the team that the right people saw the right message. And as I stated before, typically we buy media based off of demographics, not off of these segments, because it's harder to do. But the team had done so much work really using the segmentation to build and design and create messages for these groups. And they didn't want to be thwarted when it came to sales because the right people couldn't see the right message that would best resonate with them. And because at Verizon, we really strive to have this collaborative relationship between marketing, product development, and insights. And knowing this team's issue and how important it was to them, Survata came through as a very natural partner for this research task.
Thank you, Megan. Yeah, so as we started talking with Megan and with Banning, we really looked across Survata's solution set. And again, I mentioned before, we have this side of our business which is brand insights, and then we have this brand optimization side. And within our solution set for brand insights, we have dynamic segmentation, tracking, and creative testing. And because Verizon already had done a lot of work on segmentation, it made it really easy for us to recommend a creative test where we could implement their short form typing tool. And so as we were conducting the creative test, this enabled us to identify all of the different customers across their segment specifically for the creative test, but also to be able to do this audience creation piece, which is a natural glide path into when they get ready to do their campaigns.
Okay. So first things first. Oh, thanks, Dana. First things first. We needed to deliver the business results to the team. That was important. You know, with what you see here. Again, it's in a blinded fashion, but the takeaways aren't really the takeaway for you isn't really the actual results here. But we do see a few things. First is message 1 can go. That didn't win with any group. Message 3 was the overall winner. That's what the team really should be using when they just have to pick one message or they have a general population message strategy. But message 2, that's the one in the middle there, that's what did the best with the team's key targets. The team is going after segment 1 and segment 3. Those are the red and the green bars that you see there. And segment 4 actually popped up there as well. So the team learned through this that they've got one message that does well overall, but really when they're connecting with those key segments, the red and the green segments, they need to change the message for them. Then when we look at the features, we have an understanding of what did well with each segment as well. So it's important to have this info as they're further refining the creative, and especially for when it comes to training our sales reps on how to talk about this product in the store. We do see that feature 1 fairly won pretty much overall, but there is one outlier group, that's segment 5, that darker blue bar, who prefers another feature. And we need to make sure that we take care to highlight something different when we are connecting with them. And this is a perfect example of insights informing our ability to customize the message that people receive. And then last but not least in this creative test, it allowed us to get some qual. These quotes aren't exactly what we saw. Again, they're blinded, but the idea still stands. By having this qual, we know what the segments are saying, and I know how they're saying it so that we can echo their language back to them as we create further messaging and speak to them in a way that's comfortable for them. And it's really a powerful way to refine the existing messages and great fodder for when we go to create new ones. So having all that information was super helpful. So what we learned was, message 3 was the overall winner. Message 2 was who we needed to go after, what we needed to have for our target growth segments, and feature 1 had wide appeal. So step 1, check, it's done. We delivered the results to the team. We got a pretty nice, I think it was 2 or 3 pager from Survata with all of this key info highlighted. It was a great way to, bring this these insights and this information over to the team. But step 2, which was, activating those custom messages for each segment, making sure the right people saw the right message, was just as important. And now the insights team was really able to shine. That's where we really came through as a shining partner for this team by partnering up with Survata for the rest of it.
And so we presented these results at IIEX earlier this year, and the main thing as we were working with Verizon, with Megan, and with Banning is there was an urgency to be able to get the messaging done and make some decisions on the creative test. And so as Megan said, we checked that box, and then as we worked through the next steps for audience creation, at the time that we were at IIEX, we were working to create a seed audience across all of the segments that were important to Verizon, and specifically the 2 strategic growth segments. And so at that time, we were looking to create the seed audience. We were then planning to identify lookalikes on the Survata digital network, and then push the audiences into Verizon's DSP. That's a demand-side platform, and that's DoubleClick. And so what we wanted to do today is give you an update on where we were on that process. So as we completed the creative test, it was important for us to have good end sizes anywhere from 100 to 150, and in some cases higher than that. And across the segments, the red segment and the green segment, again, are the ones that are most important for Verizon as they think about launching this new product. And as typical, when you're trying to reach a specific segment that's important to the growth of your business, sometimes it can be low incidence. And we definitely saw that with this green segment here. So after completing the results of the creative test, we left the study open. And we left it open so that we could get even more people into these seed audiences. And so here what we've done is updated the numbers on what we needed to do to create the seeds in order to build our lookalikes. So for the red audience, it was around 2,091, but we see here for the green audience, this is still the smallest. We got to 1,036. The important thing here is that we need to have at least 1,000 to build an accurate audience off of it. Then what happened is that from the seed audience, we're able to, across our digital network and through our partners, identify 15 million people that had the attitudes and behaviors of the people within each of these segments. And so now that we've done this, we have each audience built out, and we push these audiences into DoubleClick. And what that means for Verizon is this is the key piece of how they can activate. So more than just having the results of the message test sitting in the PowerPoint, they now have the live audiences that they can go out and send the specific messaging and the custom message that speaks to each one of these segments into their campaigns as they get ready to launch. And really what this means is that as Verizon is working with their agencies and their media buyers, these audiences are right there in their DSP for them to literally click on and send their campaigns to. Megan, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you captured it all. This was definitely the learning piece for me, understanding how it all came together and how we truly could activate on these different segments. I was of the thought that it had to be a demographic, and you really helped me understand that that was not how we needed to always purchase media. And so this as a researcher was a very big learning curve for me.
Well, I always enjoy partnering with you on these new types of technologies and projects, because I think there's lots of learning in terms of insights, but also because I just feel like Verizon is really innovative and always willing to try new things. And because of that, the insights team at Verizon gets to benefit from these new capabilities. But beyond this project itself, I think there's a larger thing going on and a larger thing that this technology drives, and that's really what we were speaking to in terms of the revolution of what we think this technology can do for insights teams and insights leaders. So stepping back from the project itself, I wanted to talk about how we've done market research to date, right? So for the last 60 years, we've really been conducting research. We've been doing surveys, whether it be pen and paper, phone, or online. It's been some way of conducting research where you do the research, you talk to the respondents, then there's a next phase, which is analysis and reporting. And then at the end of the day, there's a PowerPoint report or some kind of static deliverable. And in that deliverable, as insights leaders, really the best we could do is influence marketing. We can interpret or tell the story in the PowerPoint, but then we hand it off and hope for the best. And as it relates to segmentation work and being able to deliver a message directly to the audience you're trying to reach, there's really, a lot of times hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on segmentation work. A segmentation by itself typically can be about a $200,000 study. Then that's a big ticket item. That's for an insights budget. For it really simply to just end up in a PowerPoint presentation. And so what I'm excited about here is that insights leaders now have the technology in hand to be able to activate that segmentation and really make it come to life in a digital marketing way when they're working with their marketing teams. And so there's really this kind of barrier here with the red line where insights leaders, they did the influence, but they really couldn't do anything else. They handed it to marketing, and marketing ran that next step. And I think, Megan, there's this new world opportunity with this process that would be great for you to talk through.
Yeah, absolutely. So with this new world, it's really that we're breaking down that barrier and we're becoming more of a driver. And, we still do the research. That's important. And frankly, personally, that's my favorite part. It's what I love. But now, by creating these digital audiences and from all devices, which is an important piece as well, that should be important for all brands and all companies, but it's really especially important for a company like Verizon, where so much of our business revolves around the wireless and communications world. We're more tightly integrated now as a business partner and able to play that bigger role. So those decks, which, as Dinah mentioned, are like segmentation decks are a big ticket item, and, we want them to work really hard for us and live beyond just that PowerPoint. They're able to now really be integrated beyond that traditional role. And we're no longer in the world of you got to pick one, you got to pick the Gen Pop message, or you have to pick the Hispanic message. We're now able to customize as we want to based on our strategy. And that small investment that the team made for the creative test makes a huge impact on the media buy, and it really allows insights to shine as a way to drive that strategy forward. You're a driving partner now instead of an influencer, which is really exciting for Verizon. And just to kind of wrap it up, I want to share a quick story with you in closing before I turn it back over to Dinah. But the segmentation I shared with you at the beginning of this presentation was actually the second needs-based segmentation that Verizon did in our 4 years of being. The first one was also based on needs, attitudes, and behaviors, but it was not able to gain a lot of footing in the company. Many teams weren't able to activate on it, and it ended up falling flat. And mostly that was because we just couldn't activate it beyond just that PowerPoint. And so after a year and a half, for many reasons, not just that lack of adoption, but for the Insights team did decide to refresh the segmentation. That's the one I shared with you earlier. And by having this ability to bring it to life, to drive this action beyond just influencing a product feature or creating a persona around a segment, it's really been exciting for the Insights team. It allows segmentation to live beyond just these stages and these groups within the company, and it allows it to live longer with more people, which is really, really huge for our team and really what we are super excited about.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us, Megan.
Yeah.
And just to summarize here, we really thank everyone for their time in listening to this process and how we're doing it, and want everybody to be thinking about the Insights leaders for their own careers, your leadership, and where you sit in this continuum of old world influence, which I love. My entire career has been in this role. Megan loves that too. Getting the insights, doing the research is a lot of fun for all of us, and I think that's why we picked this as our career. But there's really this opportunity to take our careers to the next level in this digital world and move from this influence to be able to drive marketing and have a seat at the table and work more closely with the partners in the marketing organization. So I'm super excited about this, and I couldn't have asked for a better partner to work with this on than Megan and Verizon. Everyone on the call who's in Insights, I would encourage you to reach out to Megan. There's a ton of smart people at Verizon, and not only do they have cool technology in terms of what their core business is, but they're doing really amazing things on their Insights team.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's your email address.
Let's get to some questions then. So here's a question. Do you have to have a segmentation typing tool to create audiences?
I'll take that one. This is Dinah. No, you don't have to have a typing tool. Many big brands have typing tools already built out, and so we like to help them leverage that investment, as we said. But if you don't have a typing tool yet, or you're not there, it doesn't mean we can't help build custom audiences. We can work with you on creating variables from survey questions and combining those with demographic variables to reach your target audiences and build out custom audiences for you.
Okay, great. Are there limitations to the size of audiences that are created? You mentioned 15,000 per segment.
Oh, 15 million per segment.
Oh, million, sorry.
No, that's okay. No, there's really no limit to the size of the audience we can create. There's just an accuracy trade-off. So when I was talking earlier on this slide where we were talking about the seed audiences and needing to have at least 1,000, that's just a starting point to be able to build an accurate audience of 15 million. So if you've got, you can always expand it, but if you've got 2,000, 3,000 in your seed, the more you have in your seed, the more accurate you can be about reaching more people and going from 15 million to 20 million or beyond.
Gotcha. Okay, the next one. Hopefully I won't mess this one up. Do you capture PLL on respondents?
PII. Is that PII?
Okay, see?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important question in the insights industry today, especially there's lots of privacy concerns, and so at Survata we don't capture PII. It's not part of what we do. Again, we don't have a panel. We access people through our digital network, and we usually use cookies or mobile ad IDs in order to tag people or retarget people.
Okay. All right, next question. How are audiences activated?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. How are audiences activated?
Yeah, so audiences are activated when a media buyer purchases the audience on a demand-side platform. So in the case of the audiences that we built for Verizon, each one of the segments, segment 1 through 6, we would push those individual audiences and we would name them, the exact name of the real segment, and we would push that segment 1 into a DSP, and then segment 1, those 15 million people are then available for the media buyer to click on when they're doing their media buy.
Okay. All right. Next question is, how do you track actual performance of these audiences on campaigns? I'll take that one. So on our side, usually what we do is we track key measures in the brand tracker to see if there's a change from quarter to quarter, especially among these segments. And then we really just try to measure brand lift against KPIs for each individual campaign as well. So It's really just looking after the fact if it did its job or not on those key metrics that are important to the team.
Okay, excellent. Next question is, can you provide examples of premium content that your surveys are gating?
Yeah, absolutely. There's multiple forms, so sometimes we will be unlocking a video. Other times we'll be unlocking the next level within an app. It could be free Wi-Fi at the airport. So there's a variety of different types of premium content, but those are some examples.
Okay, great. Next question is, who makes up the seed audiences?
The seed audiences are made up of survey respondents. So in the case of this example, everybody that was taking the creative test was going through the short form typing tool within the survey so that we could categorize them into each of the Verizon segments. And through that, then we have, their attitudes and behaviors. And then when we take the 1,000 respondents, we then create lookalikes across our digital network and with our partners, and find people that look just like the characteristics of the people that are in the seed.
Gotcha. Okay. The last question really is, it was how are the audiences created from the seed, but I think you just answered that. So that was all we have.
Yeah, I think one thing I would just add too onto the brand tracker piece is that was part of that flow of solutions on that earlier slide. And so a lot of times when you're doing brand tracking, you recognize from quarter to quarter that there might be a drop in key measures within a certain audience or group. And so from a brand tracker, we can actually take those people that are dropping on key measures and identify who they are. And we call this the self-healing brand tracker, but we find those people and we can customize messages to those audiences to see if we can turn around their awareness or turn around their intent to buy through custom messaging. And then ideally we see that turnaround happening in subsequent quarters of the tracker.
Gotcha. Another question that just popped in. What criteria are used to find lookalikes in the audience?
The criteria is people that are matching the attitudes and behaviors of the seed. So I think not entirely. maybe there's more to that, but it's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I don't have any more questions. Any final thoughts from either of you?
This is Dinah, not for me. I thank everybody for their time and interest, and I turn it back to Megan.
Yeah, same here. Nothing for me. Just thank you very much for, again, your time and your interest. And of course, any questions, my contact information and Dinah's is right there if you have any further questions or follow-ups. Happy to help.
Great. Thank you so much, Megan and Dinah, for being here today and presenting for us. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day as well as everyone else that was here today.